Welcome back to the Amp Theory. It's your boy Scott.
It's your boy J-Mac.
And things are a little bit different today because we're actually at my house.
Dojo Dose.
You stole it from me. But anyways, this is the Dojo Dose. Thank you so much for joining us here. And welcome to my home.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming or welcoming us in. Not coming into your own house, but welcoming me into your humble abode.
Yeah.
A bunch of us saw us live. And look at all this cool stuff back here.
Yeah.
Look at all these amazing little things back here.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your Blackpink wand?
It's right over there, right over your shoulder.
Because that's what we're about to... I just ruined your whole setup. Oh, you can actually hit?
Uh-huh.
To turn on?
I don't have batteries for it, unfortunately.
This is called Why Can't You Look Away from Blackpink? And this was sent to us by a No Breaks tier member,
Thank you
Madison.
So much. Thank you, Madison.
Thank you very much, Madison. Thank you for supporting the channel. And now we're going to learn some knowledge.
Yeah, so we peeped this just a little bit, and it seems like it's, you know, like a breakdown of, you know, a lot of the things that the girls do, like probably the reasons why you fall in love with them, things like that. So since this does seem to be more of like, you know, educational, we may pause a little bit less. And it's a 35-minute video.
So strap in.
You know, we're glad you're here with us.
Yeah, I'm excited. And this is from the channel Mira. It'll be in the OG link will be in the description down below.
Absolutely.
So let's get into this. Again, thank you, Madison.
Thank you, Madison.
Why you can't look away from Blackpink?
I have my own, like...
Suspicions of why?
No, I have a thesis as to why.
A thesis.
A thesis.
That's a strong word.
Uh-huh. The SAT word. Oh, if you want to hold this, you can.
Cinema. It's not an essay about marketing, media play, company advertising, or any mercantile part of the K-pop industry. It's just about cinema and what makes Blackpink's videos really enjoyable to me personally.
Oh, okay.
This video is over-edited, and I'm aware of that. I got carried away, and it over-analyzes things that are small and not really so important, and I talk about them for way too long, and I'm aware of that. This is just for fun. Before anybody gets any wild ideas,
one of our intros.
I will not be beefing with YG Entertainment or anything like that in this video. My personal gripes
definitely didn't sound like us.
are not the focus of this video. This video is all about praise and enjoyment of the things I love about Blackpink. So I'd recommend getting a snack and let's get into it. At this point, Blackpink are a staple of the K-pop video genre. Their videos are hugely influential on how the world sees K-pop. The colors, outfits, sets, and scenes range from simple and minimalist to larger than life and dominating, but with consistent pomp and polish that makes you think Blackpink no matter what video you're watching.
Yep.
Each video has its own sets, outfits, choreography, and concepts, but one trademark that you can see in almost every video is each member's specific visual coding. Each member has her own set of lighting, camera work, composition, editing, colors, and design. If you're familiar with Blackpink's videos, I guarantee that each member has a distinct aesthetic tone in your mind.
Yep.
There are video elements that look like a rosé color palette,
I always thought it, but
a Jenny outfit,
she
or at least the camera
articulated it better than I could.
And it's where these four dynamics meet that Blackpink gains this incredible visual charisma. I think member-specific cinema is becoming more and more prominent in the fourth generation. You can see it in groups like ITZY, TXT, Everglow, and to some extent Luna, although with Luna, member-specific coding kind of lives and dies in the solos. There just really isn't enough time in the group releases with 12 members and only 3.5 minutes. I think right now ITZY is probably the most effective example other than Blackpink. We'll talk about ITZY another day. And this is all not to say that Blackpink's music video scenes are repetitive, rather that each member has her own cinematic style. And it's the variation between these styles and the way each video weaves them together that give each Blackpink video its own unique charm. To develop these kinds of styles with consistency takes a lot of dedication and care, and I want to highlight that for each member in the video. This video is not intended to create, reinforce, or distribute stereotypes about the members of Blackpink. It's not about the actual personalities of the members as people, but rather the specific techniques used by the directors of their videos to create different appeals over a large videography. Today,
it is sad that this person has to mention that because so many people take so many literal things out of context, and it's like, you said one thing about like how you said pass because you didn't know what Disney character to give Jenny, and now everybody said you hate Jenny because you said pass. It sucks that it has to be a thing.
I want to say the vast majority of blanks, though, are very, very
99,
humble.
99.99%.
I said 9 because you said 9. But very humble, very nice, and very, you know, constructive. So let's keep that going.
We're going to go through each member and see what she quote-unquote looks like within Blackpink's video style. Keep in mind that
This can be
is by
interesting.
no means a hard science, and my interpretation is solely based on my own personal opinions and observations. So if you're very familiar with Blackpink's videos, try and play a game with me. If I showed you 4 different color palettes and told you that each one belonged...
Third one's rosé.
I feel like you might be right, but definitely Rosé's color palette, obviously. But I would say with like the yellows, like the yellows and the browns, that might be Lisa. So, but the other two, like I'm not 100% on.
Yellow and brown.
Mm-hmm.
To a specific member, you could probably guess which member is which without me having to tell you. Yeah, I did put them in member order, and that kind of gives that away, but even if you didn't know that, I think you could still guess who is who. The palettes I'm showing you are the 10 most recurrent colors in each member's scenes from each Blackpink music video. I went through and found the 10 most common colors in each Jisoo scene, the 10 in each Jennie scene, each Rosé scene, and each Lisa scene. So what do these palettes, as well as other cinematic elements, tell us about each member?
Jisoo. Very sharp colors.
Jisoo has what I think is the weirdest style within Blackpink for her own personal targets, but I feel it suits her perfectly. In fact, her style is one that should be totally against the Blackpink image, but I'll get into that in just a minute. Cinematically, Jisoo is the member of mystery and nobility. Her color palette includes rich purples.
I was right.
Blues,
I was
such as
wrong.
Violet and amethyst, as well as navy and sapphire. Her palette is regal and queenly. Jisoo suits jewel tones and consistently has the coolest temperature and darkest shade of colors out of all the Blackpink members. Her warmer colors include magenta and bronze, a few lighter pinks, and a consistent yellow accent color. Her most important colors are purple and black. Jisoo plays a really interesting role in Blackpink's cinematics. She's the group's visual as well as a vocalist, and she's the oldest member, and those roles typically come with more traditionally quote-unquote flattering scenes. K-pop wants its visuals to look beautiful, and its vocalists to look elegant, and its oldest members to look mature and respectable. And while Jisoo satisfies all those targets naturally, she's also the member who gets the most out-of-target scenes. Jisoo's sections are intense in shadow, color, and set pieces, constant close-ups, hyper-focus on eyes, very dark color schemes. Out of all the members, Jisoo is the most likely subject of a supernatural, or fantastical, or period piece-themed scene. I think the directors just aren't as afraid to get weird and go off-target when it comes to Jisoo. From the way she's shot in these videos, Jisoo is something of an old-world vampire, and her romanticism is the kind that plays with shadow, darkness, secrecy, and mystery. As the visual, you'd expect her face to be this constant neon sign in Blackpink's videos, but the directors prefer to cloak her in shadow, making her more supernatural. I think this is a huge reason why her hair doesn't change as often. Soft blacks and purples are a huge part of her romanticism, and a lot of that comes from her hair. Long dark hair and long dark silhouettes, black jackets, black dresses, black shirts and hoodies, floor-length gowns, winged umbrellas, medieval architecture, glossy pianos. Jisoo is the member surrounded by smoke, fog, dark water, running through old castles, or locked away in closets in dark theaters. So what are Jisoo's defining cinematic elements? My favorites are lighting and shadow. Jisoo's visuals are constantly playing with darkness and shadow. The camera and the lighting often obscure details at the beginning of the shot and then reveal them slowly throughout the scene. Shadow is a very important element in Jisoo's compositions. From more obvious, stark compositions like in Playing with Fire, to more subtle shifts from darkness to light, which you can see in Do-Do-Do-Do and Kill This Love. Blackpink's videos constantly show shadows passing over Jisoo's face into light. I mean, once you start looking for it, you can see it all the time in her scenes. For all that Blackpink's
Now I
videos
won't
are
be able
bold
to
and
unsee
in your
it,
face,
right?
the shadow motif is prominent in a lot of Jisoo's compositions. I don't think there are many K-pop groups out there that prefer to hide their visual in darkness or obscure their faces. The aloof, mysterious visual is not a new concept in K-pop, but Jisoo's visuals aren't really aloof at all. There's a ton of emotion in this darkness motif. Feelings of longing, intimacy, creepiness, and yeah, romance. Jisoo's scenes borrow a bit from Gothicism, and Gothic atmospheres can involve the uncanny and the unexplainable. There's this idea in cinema called the anatomy of a creature, and it's basically how you use aesthetics to create a metaphorical creature or phenomenon within one person. Jisoo's phenomenon is a creature of the night. The repeated motif of shadow into light, darkness into focus, obscurity into clarity gives Jisoo this paranormal cinematic feeling. A beautiful face emerging from darkness into light is a classic motif of vampire movies.
Come to me, Arthur. Easy softness come to me. My arms hungry for you, my darling.
No, Saw.
Kiss me and caress me. My darling husband, please.
Okay, pause. So this does not count as a traditional vampire movie, and this movie is kind of bonkers. Honestly, what a choice by Coppola to name his Dracula movie Bram Stoker's Dracula. As if Bram Stoker, were he to rise from the grave, would choose this movie as the perfect adaptation of his book. That is slapping your dick on the table. All jokes aside, but this scene is fantastic. It's the best part of the movie. It chews the furniture at every moment, and it's such a cool interpretation of the classic dramatic vampire. Back to Jisoo. While I know some people feel that Jisoo gets the short end of the stick when it comes to Blackpink's scenes, I think her subtlety is what makes her so alluring. Compositionally, Blackpink's videos highlight Jisoo's face shape, her mouth, and her eyes. This creates a kind of unbroken hypnotic gaze between Jisoo and the viewer over multiple videos. You start watching one, you move to another, and she's still looking at you. Jisoo's shots are consistently more desaturated, with more shadows and more gray tone and fewer white highlights. Even in bright scenes, there's less overall color to the composition. Architecture and nature are motifs I associate with both Jisoo and Rosé, but in different ways. Where Rosé gets these otherworldly, romantic sets, Jisoo has darker, more mysterious shots. Jisoo is subtle, less intensely colored, always obscured by shadows and fog. It's a really cool aesthetic that I think Jisoo suits really well. Jisoo's architecture is gothic or medieval, a place where you might find a vampire. I'd love to see a streak out into strong gothic romance sometime in the future. Black roses and sheet music and dark academia.
Pause a little quick. Hey, like, okay, Mira, you fucking took us to school. This is your opinion, but when you put it together, like, your thoughts come, like, in the video, like, everything that you're saying, these are things that you've kind of, like, noticed before, but I never really put together as, like, I've always been, like, drawn to her, and, like, always did kind of feel like maybe she got, like, a little less time to shine, but, like, every time that she was, like, on camera, you know, like, she stole the show, and, like, it is how she described.
I didn't get that from it. I got it from more. She's the more mysterious one. I want to know more about her.
I think like that's a better way of saying it.
Which
like,
was true.
Yeah.
For us, we all had our individual biases that weren't Jisoo.
Right.
And only after really learning more about Jisoo's personality, we're like, man, I love Jisoo. Like there's so much I love about her, and maybe it is. Maybe it didn't work for her benefit in having it be that way. Well, because I mean, now that you know, was all of our bias at the end, with Peter.
But I think,
it's because we appreciate her. But I wonder if the visuals took away from any of that.
Hear me out on this one though. Like it kind of like the mystery of Jisoo didn't like really catch up with us till like later. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm saying is like, yeah, in the beginning, like, you know, we do still have like biases, but then collectively, Jisoo like slowly and methodically crept up and became like our bias wrecker. And like that's like one of those things like she's she's alluring, she's captivating, and you don't realize that you fall in love with her until like boom, like you're head over heels. That's what Jisoo's done.
Until it's too late.
Way too late.
It's an interesting way of looking at it. I've never thought about looking at it. Now let's hear about Jennie.
I am sad that I was wrong with the color palettes, though.
Jennie is the member of strength, style, and passion. Jennie's style is the one that I feel best matches Blackpink's overall vibe, since it has a lot of power and spotlight. Her color palette is very editorial, the kind of colors you'd expect in high-end fashion magazines and clothing stores. Very powerful, feminine, and chic. While most of her colors are very saturated, not a ton of neutrals, she has a pretty even split between bright and dark values. She's the only member with a consistent white hue in her palette, which is often partnered with one of her darker blues or one of her many shades of red, which range from scarlet and candy apple all the way to burgundy and maroon. I think there actually is a shade of red called Jennie Red. In my opinion, where Jisoo's most important colors are purple and black, Jennie's power colors are crimson red and navy blue. It's worth pointing out that, contrary to the way she was labeled in the media, none of Jennie's cinema gives off a princess vibe. Rather, her aesthetics are more in line with superheroes and fashion moguls. There's an almost comic book look to her scenes, dramatizing strength of character, passion, and personal style. Jennie's scenes are editorial and vogue, with a focus on extreme individuality. Where Jisoo is a child of the night, Jennie is a child of the spotlight, with powerful saturation, high contrast, and bold lighting, sleek dark hair and cat eyes and smoky eyeshadow, dark shirts and trains, black boots, fishnets, and shorts. Her sets are intensely lit with bright, fierce colors. Over the years, her scenes have had higher and higher contrast, lots of glamorous palettes standing out from black tones, and really stark separations between color and value. Her sets, outfits, and filters have defined lights and darks. Jennie definitely has her own set of shadows, but unlike Jisoo, she's never hidden by them. She's center stage, and the shadows make the rest of the world her backdrop. She's also a visually dynamic member and has a second persona that's bubblier and more girly, but also hints of that darker fashionista edge. Jennie's scenes are more transmedia than the other members, combining the art of fashion with the art of cinema. Jennie is a teenage girl.
In analytical terms, she's a boss bitch.
A lot of her shots are similar to classic superhero framing, as well as the general bucket of powerful female hero. Her style gives you that
you did have to
main
put Buffy in
character vibe
there.
you get with idols like Irene, Yuhyun, and Nayeon. Set up against motorcycles, pink lockers, tanks, and a few thrones, she's drawn a lot like a girly teenage protagonist who fights evildoers in her free time, somewhere between Sailor Moon and Buffy. During Blackpink's earlier eras, her style has some elements of pop-punk, from the black layers and the band t-shirts to the academic dress and collared shirt combo with the electric pink tie. Light pink accents to black outfits, sun streaks in her hair, sweaters and headbands, leather jackets and black blazers, black accents to summer two-pieces. More recently, her style has evolved to incorporate more glitz and glamour, with jewels, simple cream and black color schemes, and really high detail makeup. She also comes through with a great hat and Kill This Love. I love hats. Solo isn't a group release, but it uses a lot of the same techniques. That rich Jennie red, the creams and cool blacks, the teenage heroine storylines. I think Solo looks more classically cinematic, but it also reinforces a lot of Jennie's established styles. Jennie has several special cinematic elements, but my personal favorites are camera work and composition. To say that the camera loves Jennie is an understatement. I think you can watch a Blackpink camera movement without any subject and still know it's about Jennie. The camera physically responds to Jennie's output, rolling dollies, powerful zooms, shaking to the strength of her delivery. The camera is physically involved in everything Jennie, her hair flips, her raps, all the way down to her eyebrow scrunches. She's the main rapper, and the camera isn't afraid to get playful or aggressive with her. The camera movements match her energy verse for verse. When Jennie acts sexy and chic, the camera gets sexy and chic, with delayed zooms, wide circling pans, slow pulls, or revolving around a controlled axis. When she's energetic and powerful, the camera dances with her. It has visual rumble during her raps. When Jennie is coy and playful, the camera has its own little jokes. Take this moment in do-do-do-do when the camera establishes this slow, repeated pull back and pushing, and then this short, totally still cut that breaks the pattern. It's a bit of comedy in the composition. Do-do-do-do makes a really interesting choice to cut the expressive camera work during Jennie's rap, and it kind of lets the rap do all the talking. The camera often emphasizes her head and her hands. Jennie kind of talks with her hands when she raps, and the camera really loves that, like in Boombayah and Whistle. In Kill This Love, the camera rolls around with Jennie's head snaps. In As If It's Your Last, we get these adorable comedic moments with her little head tilts and her little rolls. Let's talk about the idea of moving composition. Where paintings and sculptures and comics can kind of simulate movement in their compositions, moving composition is a cinematic effect where the actual full composition of a piece is created by movement of camera, set, lighting, or subject.
I think I'm scared, I have no time. I scream out loud just to see if I'm alive. I think I'm scared, I don't know why. So leave the lights on, stay inside, 'cause I'm scared again.
Watch the way this role in Whistle goes from a slightly emphasized Jennie to a majorly emphasized Jennie. As an audience, we're naturally drawn to people as subjects, so with Lisa here, there's a chance she could distract from Jennie, with Jennie being the main subject of the shot, but the camera keeps Jennie at the center of the axis and tilts from a level angle to a slant that pushes her into the center of the frame. The effect is that the camera visually simulates us as the audience being drawn into Jennie's orbit. She waves her fingers and becomes the center of gravity. In one sentence, I'd say Jennie's camera work is designed to make Jennie the center of gravity. Jennie's appeal is a combination of teenage heroine and superpowered fashionista. I think one of the things that personally irks me about the way some people portray Jennie is the idea that she's just a stone-cold steel badass. I mean, yeah, the girl is badass and she can play aloof like the best of them, but if there's one consistency to be found in Jennie, it's warmth. From her warm creams and fiery reds, her intense spotlights and saturation, her adorable smiles and her nose scrunches, and the way she commands the center of gravity, Jennie is the sun in Blackpink's solar system. And a lot of what I personally love about Blackpink rises and sets with Jennie.
Hold on. So we stopped at Jisoo. What do you think about the breakdown for Jennie? You be careful. There we go.
She's a boss bitch.
But remember,
no, that's right though. She's always kind of like the classifying her as like the star or like the sun in the Blackpink. So it just doesn't make sense. She's always seems like she's kind of right there in the center. And again, seeing it broke down with the camera work, which is very impressive now. And I've always loved Blackpink's visuals.
Yeah.
It is really like the camera like follows her wherever she is. It was a really cool breakdown. So far, this has been my favorite breakdown.
Yeah,
So-
like we've seen like quite a few breakdowns of like of the group, but this one like takes into like account like everything. Like it actually makes so much sense now, like how like the camera, how the camera is used to like be impactful and like follow her, and like she is like an eye catcher for real.
Yeah. All right, your girl now, Rose. Oh wow, all the rose colors and stuff like that. That was for Rose. I'm shocked.
When it comes to Rosé, I think her visual coding is the easiest to identify. It's one of the most consistent styles, and because Rosé is usually the front runner of the pre-chorus, her style is the one that signifies the first major shift in most of Blackpink's videos.
I've
Rosé
noticed
is the
that.
leader of romance and emotion. Her color palette is probably the easiest to guess since it's completely dominated by pinks. Darker pinks like ruby and cerise, and lighter pinks like French rose and watermelon. Even her neutral tones are usually pink. Pink accent lighting, pink makeup, pink undertones, pink backdrops. Her hair is dyed in shades of blonde, strawberry blonde, and berry colors. Like Jisoo, she has a few purples, but none of those like royal, queenly jewel tones. Instead, she has soft mauves, heathers, and lavenders. She has one very light, icy blue accent color and an extremely pale blush pink. Rosé's sections have higher saturation, but lower contrast, adding lots of color but no strong black tones or harsh highlights or shadows. The overall look is vibrant but soft. The highlights in these compositions are usually white-toned instead of hued, and the shadows are usually hued instead of black. All of these colors and lighting choices give Rosé's scenes a very dreamy, soft, and romantic look. Rosé's imagery borrows a few characteristics from romanticism, with a capital R, with an emphasis on expression, powerful emotion, nature, and a rejection of realism.
This one is the most easiest because you can tell in every video.
Yeah.
Rosé is the member surrounded by sand, sky, sunlight, storms, and flowers. Rosé is filmed very feminine, with a lot of focus to hair, lips, and shoulders. For Rosé, I have two favorite cinematic elements. The first is focus. In almost all of Blackpink's videos, the camera goes in and out of focus during Rosé's scenes, especially during defined shots of her face. We see it in Whistle, Boombayah, Playing with Fire, a lot. Stay, Kill This Love, How You Like That, Lovesick Girls, and of course, Do-Do-Do-Do. This combination of high saturation, low contrast, and in and out focus creates a very feminine, soft appeal, and contributes to the underlying feeling of being caught outside time and space. Rosé is the main vocalist with an acoustic-adjacent voice. Her color scheme is very pink and soft, and focus-changing close-ups create a very intimate feeling. These appeals are very romantic in nature, and by physically softening the lines of a scene, the camera creates emotion. Romance, heartbreak, mystery, allure, attraction. Rosé's appeal is one that evokes passion and sensitivity, and all the emotions in between. It also makes her more enigmatic and mysterious. She's always just out of reach, so close yet so far. I'm going to go on a little tangent here and talk about one specific thing I love with Rosé, and that I call the float. Her scenes are full of things floating.
It's kind of the
curtain
slow-mo.
paper and streamers in the streets.
Kind of like an ethereal look.
Cathedral, her entire body in space. Rosé is frequently shot to look like she's floating within her sets. Up on the chandelier, the camera doesn't bother to keep her in center, so she looks weightless. On the floor of the cathedral, regular Rosé stands very stable and unmoving, whereas Goddess Rosé has floating hair, floating fabric, and even her hand movements drift in the air to make her body and dress seem weightless. Her head will drift across the frame, very unconnected to whatever gravity the camera is bound by. In Kill This Love, we see her body sinking through the air during the storm, hair flying, slow motion, and we never see her feet on any solid ground. This out-of-time, out-of-space scene is immediately followed by Jisoo's feet running across the floor, so we have this sudden change of contrast. In Whistle, we see Rosé spinning in a pink void surrounded by white sand, which could look like a cloud. Her face rolls in and out of focus through the air. This is right on target with her visual appeal. It's very ethereal.
Is that Legolas? No. It's, yep, her. I knew it was from Lord of the Rings, goddammit.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy is a very great place to look at fantasy elements balanced with human elements. Galadriel is another example that we'll talk about later. Typically, floating portrays a sense of romance and timelessness and beauty. While Jisoo has a few floating scenes herself, they're much more stable. This weightless, detached from reality kind of floating is very specific to Rosé. Where Jisoo is obscured by shadow, Rosé is obscured by light. Strobe lights, flashing lightning, torches,
sometimes like oversaturation with the light.
Neon signs. Jisoo's motif moves her out of the shadows into the light, but Rosé's motif moves her into the light and out of visibility. She's literally too bright to look at. There's actually this great moment in Do where Jisoo steps into shadow just as Rosé steps into light. It's such a cool shot. I don't know if it's intentional, but it looks really good. If Jisoo alludes a bit to a gothic vampire searching for light, Rosé alludes to a surreal deity that can't be easily observed in this dimension.
Now I need to have this scene with Gone behind it.
There she is. This is such a great scene, but every time I watch it, I just want to watch Galadriel, and instead we get, "Where is Gandalf? For I much desire to speak with him." Like, dude, do you have a job or something? On a slightly more literary level, Rosé is not a part of our dimension the way Jisoo and Jenny are. Jisoo has a lot of supernatural elements, but she's a part of our world, emerging from the mystical into the real. Rosé is a deity we can glimpse but cannot fully perceive. We're seeing her through the veil of Blackpink's dimension. Going back to visual romanticism, Rosé rejects realism. She rejects gravity, she rejects visibility, and she rejects linearity. Going back to The Anatomy of a Creature, the cinema that personifies a goddess, gravity, light, movement, and the elements. Where Solo is a video that reinforces an appeal, On the Ground is a video that rejects it. Where Blackpink Rosé is out of focus, very colorful, and highly saturated, On the Ground Rosé is highly contrasted, desaturated, and significantly less pink. The video replaces the out-of-touch separation with a more personable, close to the audience feeling that kind of fits the overall theme of the song. I think the Gone music video is one that is slightly in between. It definitely isn't as over-the-top and dramatic as the Blackpink videos are, but it does have this out-of-time, out-of-space feeling, caught in the middle of heartbreak and emotion. A few other breaks in her motif include the car chase in Kill This Love, the darkened tunnel in How You Like That, and of course the most iconic break, her glossy black hair in As If It's Your Last. I actually think it brings out the pink in her color scheme, and it really enhances her cuteness factor. Dark hair makes her cheeks look fuller because of how the color frames her face, and I think it just makes her look extra adorable and sugary.
Yeah. Right.
So, I'm gonna say, right now, I'm on the same page as Mira here, because how...
Mira, you spitting.
How they even said, like, it just may be me, maybe I'm just saying that. The way that she's breaking down these videos is how I break down movies. Because it's like, you've seen that movie, yeah, but I've seen it 50 times. Did you notice this little thing, this little thing? This is why this makes this super cool. I'm right there in there, because there's so much. And I've never seen something like this to where they break down all the videos of artists, and like you can see there's a continuous kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Motif throughout, or whatever.
Motif is a good word. Motif is a good word, but it kind of, I guess in a way, showing that like Rose, is kind of like that goddess, like she's ethereal.
You didn't know that already.
Like out of touch to like the normal person. I guess like that is something that I do like a lot of fantasy, like movies and like animes and things like that. So she kind of like her aesthetic does kind of fall into like line with the things that I am drawn to and more attracted to, immediately, right? Like obviously we love all four of them, but Rose has been my bias from jump. It's kind of like it made me laugh a little bit. There's like that toxic part of my brain that was like, oh yeah, because she's out of touch. That's like because she's out of reach. I'll never be able to like reach her. That's why I like her.
Well, that's what the restraining orders for. All right, we're on to my bias now, Lisa.
Lisa, in one word, is bombastic.
That's a good word, bombastic.
I like that.
I think that's the perfect description. She's foxy, she's a babe. Her positions are main dancer and lead rapper, which combine a very active and kinetic style with the in-your-face bluster seen in some of Jennie's rap scenes. I think the people who love Lisa's style would recognize an unparalleled level of energy and enthusiasm.
Energy and enthusiasm.
Videos really emphasized her
that.
position as the Machne, but later videos like Do 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 and Kill This Love gave her a more mature presentation. So what are the basics? Lisa's color palette has a fuck ton of hues and is the most quote-unquote complete in terms of the color wheel.
So I saw that, I'm like, that's
Instead
definitely
of
Lisa's.
sticking to one main set of colors, purples and blues, reds and blacks, pinks and pinks and pinks, Lisa is all over the spectrum. She's the only member with all three saturated primary colors. She's the only member with a prominent green color. Her palette is really bright and really saturated, and it has the least neutrals or support colors. If Jisoo is the vampire, Jennie is the hero, and Rose is the deity, Lisa is the wild card. Lisa is the most malleable member in Blackpink, with by far the highest number of definable personas within one videography. The other members have variations that reinforce the same kind of coding. Lisa, on the other hand, has a variety of codes, and she's got the most versatile cinematics out of all the members. Don't get me wrong, Lisa does have a main style, and her sub-styles, if you could call them that, are usually interconnected, but a huge element to that main style is versatility. Lisa is subject to change. Lisa contains multitudes, including but not limited to the scrappy little punk, the rebellious schoolgirl, the in-your-face badass, the scorned woman, the diva, and of course, Goody Proctor. I've said
Goody
Proctor is, in my opinion, one of the
that.
most expressive K-pop performers, and her ability to jump in and out of aesthetics is a really big selling point. Lisa gets to be on all sides of the playground in a way that the other members kind of can't. In order for the other members to have those concrete appeals, the other three can't bounce around as much as Lisa does. Lisa's jack-of-all-trades appeal is in contrast.
She's very
to the
bouncy.
members.
Like,
Speaking of
yeah.
which,
it's because they're
Jisoo
dancing.
and Rose
Yeah.
are opposite elements of the natural world, like darkness versus light.
She's got the most
and Jennie and
physicality.
Lisa are
Yeah.
opposite elements of the man-made world. Jennie is sleek and polished and fashionable. She's got shopping malls, magazines, luxury brands. But Lisa is rough and tumble and vibrant. She's surrounded by tools and scrap metal, video games, school buses, garbage dumps, and haul trucks. Lisa is the member surrounded by fire, tools, machinery, weapons, the discarded quirky bits and bobs that can be repurposed into really cool shit like controllers and TVs. Speaking of which, by far my favorite costume of hers is this incredibly specific appeal of the scientist. Clinical blues, lab coats and lasers, equations, beakers, thick rim glasses. Where Jisoo and Rose have elements of the supernatural and Jennie has elements of the elite, Lisa gets science and invention. Because Lisa has this quirky, scrappy, badass edge and then the suave, dangerous edge, the character of the scientist is a really good middle ground, but it's also its own unique costume. Two more cinematic elements worth talking about: editing and movement. Lisa's the main dancer, so movement's important, but I'm not talking about choreography. I'm talking about blocking. The blocking of like a subject through a set, but also the way that an eye path or an eye trace is created by camera movement or by editing. Jennie, Rose, and Jisoo are edited on beat. Lisa's editing is off beat. Not majorly offbeat and not all the time, but her editing will take creative liberties to emphasize a great line or play to the offbeats. You might start on a Jenny section that is very cleanly edited to the main beat, and then come off into a Lisa section that is edited to the underbeat. Or you'll hit a section where the editing will put emphasis on Lisa's ad-libs and space them out before jumping right into a series of completely on-beat cuts. Like always, it's variation that makes this element so completely Lisa. Lisa is a tomboy wild child who doesn't play by the rules, and her editing will jump around the beat the way Lisa jumps around the status quo. Camera play is also important to Lisa. Unlike Jenny, where the camera is doing the externalizing with her, Lisa's camera is almost trying to keep pace with Lisa's own movements. For example, there's this little moment in Doo where the camera moves a bit prematurely and then backtracks to keep up with Lisa's hands. She travels a lot around her sets, she doesn't stay in one place too much. The camera has the task of finding the best angles while letting her do what she does best. Lisa's scenes are full of personality because her movements give you something to watch at every turn. The meaning ground between these two ideas is interesting. We have editing that plays with the song beat and camera work that rides Lisa's rhythm as a performer. So what you end up with is Lisa's movements are what establish the rhythm of a sequence. Her hand movements, her head movements, her hip movements, those are the visuals that stay on beat. So in order to properly show them, the cuts have to be a bit before or after the rhythm, not during the rhythm itself. I mean, otherwise what's the point? If her hand gestures or shoulder movement or pointing at the ceiling is going to define the beat, the editing is going to have to give it space. It's a good example of servicing the project, and it also adds visual unpredictability that goes perfectly with Lisa. Anime and animated movies are really great places to look at how movement and editing can create these eye traces.
Did you see this movie?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I just saw the second one too. I liked it.
Visual travel. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a Banksy.
I think the versatility of Lisa's style contributes to her incredible popularity. There's something for everyone when you watch Lisa. All this isn't to say that Lisa is out of place in Blackpink's videos. More like the video itself is a tool for letting Lisa set the stage. Lisa is the most important element of her scenes, and she's the X factor that the rest of the scene jumps to match. Her charisma physically alters the visual landscape, and she's so cool. All of her sets,
right.
Her outfits, her substyles still feel like Lisa, because her magnetism is completely her. She might wear a different wig or a different set of accessories, but when she pops her head, you know it's her.
Yeah.
This is her turf,
you know,
on
it's
her terms.
it's
So
Lisa.
what happens when you put them all together? I feel like Blackpink videos kind of play Jisoo and Rosé as
Alright,
foils
so
to
now I
each
think,
other.
yeah.
Rosé
Okay, you're biased. You go first.
She's that bitch. For real, when she comes in the scene, it's like if you were sitting here talking, act like you're talking.
So yeah, so you know, like Jonathan's
hold on,
about to ruin the scene.
What's up? Now it's me, not about you. And then they go back to you.
No.
She's a disruptor. Isn't the good word? Isn't the correct word? But she is like an eye catcher.
I was gonna
it's
say
the attitude. It's her ferocity. Her.
I was gonna
her
say
stage presence. Everything about her.
I was gonna say everything about Lisa. Like she's very kinetic and she has so much charisma, right? So she is like a scene stealer. Don't break it, man. Don't break my stuff.
I'm gonna put it back on the show.
I use the word kinetic, right? Because she does move around a lot.
Right.
She does have a lot of energy. She's very vibrant. She's like very out there. Putting, you know, like the when she said that Lisa was the wild card, I was like, boom, that's it. She's got the X factor. She's the wild card.
She got the juice now.
She got the juice.
towards warm, intense, and passionate tones, and Jisoo towards cool, candid, and noble tones. Jenny and Lisa are more like inverted reflections of each other, with Jenny being sharp, cat-like, and feminine, and Lisa being lively, rough, and tomboyish. I find that color palettes afforded to Jisoo typically contrast Rosé and complement Jenny, whereas Lisa is contrasted to Jenny and in complement to Rosé. I like these moments, like in As If It's Your Last, where each member is wearing her main color, yet the scene remains cohesive in tone. When you have group scenes that fully synchronize their visual coding, they become some of the most remarkable. These moments are usually reserved for the chorus or the choreography scenes, like in Do-Do-Do-Do, As If It's Your Last, and Whistle. There are also scenes that become special because they completely break the motifs. There will sometimes be group scenes where the coding is either middling or left out, which is why scenes like this, despite having the spotlight of the chorus, are somewhat less memorable. These scenes neither reinforce nor deliberately break the coding, so they kind of come off as less remarkable. If you've been paying attention, you may have noticed certain Blackpink videos that have been missing so far from the video, namely the more recent videos like How You Like That, Ice Cream, and Lovesick Girls. The reason why these videos were excluded is because this era of Blackpink is what I would call the breaking era, or the era in which all that separation between styles starts to break down. Starting with How You Like That, the members begin swapping styles. How You Like That is kind of in between. It's like a send-off for the previously established styles and an entry into the new styles. Rosé is the one hidden in darkness and shadow, whereas Jisoo is surrounded by light and color. Jennie has the scientific blues and the out-of-focus floating, while Lisa has the on-beat editing and the camera play from Jennie's scenes. Some elements are the same. Of course, Jennie still has her fashion, Rosé still has her flowers, Jisoo still has her face getting covered by stuff, but in the individual scenes, many cinematic characteristics are being traded around, which is why the whole thing feels a little different than past Blackpink videos. And now we come to my darling, my baby, Ice Cream. I said it back when I first reviewed it with my sister, and I'll say it now. Ice Cream is one of Blackpink's best music videos and one of the best videos of 2020. It's an incredibly cohesive video, and it shows off how amazing Blackpink look when all their styling and all their sets are unified. I love the stuff we've talked about already, don't get me wrong, but this just shows that Blackpink can nail the same thing other girl groups do. When they all shoot for the same appeal, they still look like themselves, just enjoying the same style. Ice Cream is a total rejection of all of Blackpink's prior styling. I don't think they were ever this bright and pastel before, even in As If It's Your Last. I remember when my sister and I were gushing over this video, we loved this scene in particular because they all trade aesthetics. Jisoo has Rosé's style, Rosé has Lisa's style, Jennie has Jisoo's style, and Lisa has Jennie's style. This is the closest I think we've ever seen to Blackpink wearing a team uniform, the way that Twice used to do, and occasionally Red Velvet, although Red Velvet were usually doing it to make a statement. Anyway. And then we get to Lovesick Girls. Besides being one of Blackpink's best songs, it's one of Blackpink's best concepts because it destroys separation. The video starts by redefining what we already know. Jennie in red, Lisa in green, Jisoo in purple, Rosé in pink. Then we see Lisa's green accents given to Jennie and Jisoo. Lisa has Rosé's striking pink top on top of Jennie's all-black ensemble. Rosé gets Jisoo's dark flowing silhouette, and Jisoo gets Jennie's smoky eye in the pop-punk styling. Jisoo is surrounded by flowers and sunlight. Rosé is muddied by black paint. Lisa is open to the wind and sky. Jennie gets the costume drama. Where Rosé's scenes usually let you hang long and stare at her, that crazy sporadic editing from Lisa's Kill This Love is now Rosé's. Jisoo is the one floating in the breeze, cut off from gravity. Lisa gets some punkish imagery of her own. Jennie's is a little harder to talk about since the footage was changed, but that soft white and green color scheme is still present. She has the teddy bear and the loose hairs flying around. She's a lot messier, a lot more approachable than her usual clean-cut, chic fashion killer look. The members all start switching appeals and mismatching their styles until they become one unique but inseparable Blackpink. Lovesick Girls visually removes separation between the members and takes them from isolated idols to four girls united in friendship and music. From a thematic point of view, that makes the message of Lovesick Girls even stronger. Four girls isolated by a toxic romance at the start, cut off from the world by a boy who doesn't love them, but finding togetherness and healing through friendship by the end. At first I was pretty miffed about the crazy fast editing in the pre-chorus and the verses because it just kind of hurts my eyes, but now I kind of accept it. When the girls are separated, life is chaotic and unnerving and hurtful, but once they find each other, the world makes sense again, and the video pulls together. In this way, Lovesick Girls is still a love story, not about a boy, but about four girls' love for each other and themselves. Lovesick Girls blurs the lines between the members and the lines between black and pink. Of course, some things never change. Jennie and Lisa are still destroying cars, Rosé is still out of focus, Jisoo's still waterlogged, but the point of the music video is obvious. Blackpink are not separate entities inhabiting the same timeline, but one group with individual styles that all work together to make something greater than the sum of their parts. Blackpink's videos and visuals are more than just expensive K-pop fodder. The flash, the pomp, the circumstance, it's all delicious, but the visual journey from four distinct members to one connected family is extremely gratifying and worth celebrating. And frankly, that wraps up about everything I have to say. That's all for this episode. See you guys next time.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow, that was very good. That was very in depth. I honestly don't have outside of what we've already said and all like the love and the gushing that we've showed towards the group as a whole, I don't have anything else to say. Like, Mira,
yeah, what a great video.
Yeah, you took up space inside my head.
That's awesome. I'm not gonna be able to look at everything the same now.
Yeah, like I'll
see it
definitely
with
be
new eyes.
Yeah, I'll definitely be coming through each type video now with like a fine-tooth comb.
I enjoyed that a lot.
I did too.
Madison, thank you very much for sending this over.
Thank you so much. This was great.
This is a great one to spend Blink's Day with all of you here.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got you spot.
Yeah, man.
No, we really enjoyed this, and hopefully you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll enjoy some of our other videos. If you come by, hit us with a like, comment, and subscribe. That would be great if you want to support the channel. We are also a Patreon supported channel. If you want to go over there and subscribe, you can become a No Breaks tier member like Madison, and you can recommend videos to us, and we'll react to it. And this actually makes us feel like we're actually getting a lot closer to you as like not fans but friends,
and also the things that you guys like.
Yeah,
because we probably wouldn't have ever seen this video essay. And
you've always put us on game.
Sucker for video essays. So
yeah, so this is great.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming by today.
Thank you so much.
And we'll catch you
on the next one.
Good shit, right, Maroki?